Good evening, class. Welcome to our second lecture. Yesterday, we could not meet face to face, but I promised that we are going to have an online class, and here we are. Today, we are going to look at education in ancient civilization, Egypt. Education in ancient civilization, Egypt. Welcome to our second lesson. In the first lesson, we learned the meaning and role of history of education. Let us now focus on a few early civilizations whose development was facilitated by elaborate educational systems. Ancient civilization refer to communities of people believed to have been fairly organized socially, politically, and economically in the earliest times when compared with their counterparts. These early times range from 3000 to 4000 BC. Examples of such civilization include ancient Egypt, Greece, Rome, China, and India. They were like the superpowers of their time. No people can be termed civilized without having an education system that has contributed to the same. It therefore becomes necessary to examine the educational system with the aim of seeing how they contributed to their development and how a modern country in Africa can borrow ideas for these success stories to improve her education system. Now, before we continue, I want to point out the objectives of this lecture. By the end of this lecture, you will be able to describe the educational system in ancient Egypt. You'll also be able to analyze the lasting legacy of education in ancient Egypt. Now, let us look at this subtopic education system in ancient Egypt. Education in ancient Egypt, when it was initially homegrown, focused on people's traditions, beliefs, and values. However, Egyptian children were closely involved in tasks done by the adults and gradually initiated their grown up behaviors. Girls in Egypt did not go to school but stayed at home to help in domestic chores such as cooking and weaving. Boys from poor families too miss school because uh, they also miss education or school education, but would be taught from their temples by the priests. Education attached much importance and value to the spiritual upbringing of their children. Friends, let me hope that you are there and you are listening. Now, we can move and look at the lasting legacy of education in ancient Egypt. Ancient Egyptians developed one of the earliest systems of writing known as hieroglyphics, which later day civilization modified. They also came up with the 12 months calendar, which the Romans modified to and is being used up to today. In agriculture, ancient Egyptians are commended for utilizing the waters of River Nile in irrigation, taming the desert or turning the desert country into the food basket of the Arab world and Middle East. In mathematics, they could perform the four basic mathematical operations of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, as well as basic concepts of algebra, geometry, and simple sets of simultaneous equations. These were utilized in calculating farm produce, division of land, population census, and pyramid. They also used this information in constructing pyramids. They advanced in artwork, especially painting, and also they expressed their developed or religious practices in the society. In architecture, they constructed the pyramids, which they have stood for 5,000 years and over. In medicine, they wrote the first known book on surgery and blood circulation. They were among the first people in history to subdivide education into now common three systems of elementary, secondary, and tertiary levels. The Egyptians were recipients of rich literature expressed through writing, song, dance, and poetry. My friend, you can see that civilization or education began here in Africa. Let us move and talk about, uh, uh, let us move and now ask you about these questions. If somebody asks you to describe education in Egypt, what will you say? Describe education in Egypt. Now, let me give you your homework today, and this homework will not be marked. Which of the following is an aspect of ancient Egyptian education system worth discarding? Which of the following is an aspect of ancient Egyptian education system worth discarding? Again, which of the following is an aspect of ancient Egyptian education system worth discarding? A. Home-based schooling. B. The three-tier system of education. C. Lack of emphasis on education of the poor and the girl child. And D. Religious education. Another question. Why are pyramids a lasting legacy on present day education? Why are pyramids a lasting legacy on present day education? The question is, why are pyramids a lasting legacy on present day education? A. They are tourist attractions. B. They earn Egypt foreign exchange. C. They have preserved a dead pharaoh to date. And D. Modern day architects and civil engineers have a reference point. Now, with that, I wish you a good evening. Up to tomorrow. Bye.